Before he was taking on Nazis in 1936, Indiana Jones was trying to get a rock back from an underground cult. Yeah, something like that. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Reeves and I like to talk about movies. When discussing the best adventure films of all time, Indiana Jones has to be in the conversation. Not necessarily all four of his movies, but his name is sure to come up. Played by Harrison Ford, created by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, with the score made by John Williams, this franchise has a lot of firepower both on and off the screen. Raiders of the Lost Ark wowed audiences in 1981, and sequels were sure to follow. Though maybe they weren't able to surpass the original, more adventures starring Indiana Jones came to cinemas and succeeded in entertaining audiences. But enough about the franchise as a whole. The second installment, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, was released in 1984. A prequel set in 1935, audiences see what Indy was up to 1 year before his encounter with the Nazis and the Ark of the Covenant in Cairo. Though an entertaining movie, and a successful one, posting an 85% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and fans being pretty much on the same page, Temple of Doom didn't wow me as much as I hoped it would. It's by no means a bad movie in my opinion, and I can see the high points, but it's not a movie you'd find me wanting to watch. The biggest thing that irks me about this movie is how Indiana, Short Round, and Willie begin their adventure. So the crew's in a plane that was sabotaged by accomplices of Lau, who sets it to crash, killing Indy and friends. It's important to mention that the plane left Shanghai and went west, and the team aborts the plane somewhere over West China towards the border to India. They manage to get out, and we watch a fun scene of the three going through crazy obstacles, down hills, waterfalls, and snow in a life raft. Once everything begins to slow and the crew can relax, they start flowing down a river. One thing leads to another, and we stumble upon a village, and la-di-da-di-da. Here's the point. Indy wants to get to Delhi so he can take a flight back to the States. The shaman of the village basically tells Indy that she wants him to go to Pankot Palace and get their sacred stone that protects the village back. Their village is in shambles now that it's missing, and after some hesitation, Indy says that he'll do it and the gang's off. I'm not a fan of the way this happens because it just seems like a series of chance, luck, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. We have an, oh no, we need to jump out of the plane, which becomes a, where are we? Maybe these people can point us in the right direction towards Delhi. You're missing a rock? Okay. You won't tell me how to get to Delhi unless I get your rock back? No way. Well, maybe we should help. I mean, after all, they're low on food and their children are missing. Well, gang, looks like we've got a mystery on our hands. Wait, that's the wrong franchise. My bad. What I'm saying is I don't like how this adventure starts because it's basically a barter, and it's almost out of Indy's pity. And I'm not saying it's bad for Indy to have a heart, that's great, but it's not as exciting as the openings to the journeys we have in Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. In Raiders, they discover that the Nazis are after the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant, like the one that you hear about in church and Sunday school. And Indy's unsure whether to believe if the Ark really exists or not, but regardless, he can't let the Nazis gain possession of it, so he has to go looking. In The Last Crusade, Indy's father is kidnapped by the Nazis, and the Holy Grail may exist. The Nazis are using his father and going after his life's work. Indy can't let the Nazis get the Holy Grail whether it exists or not. Saying it now, I know these setups sound very similar with only slight variations, but I feel like they were executed in a much more fun and interesting way than, we lost our rock, we need our rock back. Will you please help us get our rock back? If not, we won't help you. And by the way, when all is said and done and the movie ends, Indy never got to Delhi. Did he? I mean, I guess I'll just have to assume that he did. So I want to look at when Indy and crew stumble upon the sacrifice ceremony that's going on under Pankot Palace. So basically, they watch this guy, Mola Ram, rip another dude's heart out and then sacrifice him in a very vivid way. When these three stones are put together, one of them being the stolen stone that Indy and crew are looking for, this cult can summon the powers of Shiva, who's the Hindu god of destruction and transformation, to destroy someone in a fire as a sacrifice. I had to do some research, and I found that Shiva is actually a part of the Hindu Trinity and is known as the Destroyer. He's one of the supreme beings who creates, protects, and transforms the universe. He can create life or destroy things in fire. I just want to say, I didn't get any of that from the movie. All I got was, these three rocks make a man die because there's a big fire. There's another goddess's name who you may hear a lot, and that's Kali Ma, or Kali for short. Now, if I'm correct, Kali Ma is Shiva's spouse in the Hindu religion, and she's the goddess of death, time, and change. She eliminates the evil from the world. Now, in the movie, which, again, I had to look up this information because the movie does not do a great job of conveying it to me, Mala Ram wants to find these 5 Sankara stones to allow Kali Ma to rule the world because she's the goddess of death. Now, this is kind of a strange motive because, I mean, does he realize if he's getting the goddess of death back, there's no guarantee that he won't die too? But maybe because he's the leader of this support group, he won't be? I don't know. Anyways, the cult is stationed under Pankot Palace, and they're mining for the other 2 stones behind this stage where the sacrifice occurs. And by the way, they never find the other 2 stones. We never see them. I didn't even really understand that there were 5 stones, to be honest. We only see 3 in the movie, but apparently 3 of them can do enough to destroy someone in a sacrificial way, but you need all 5 to resummon Kali Ma? So why am I bringing this up? Well, one, if you're like me when I watched this, I had absolutely no idea what was going on, so there you go. And 2, do you see how confusing this plotline can be? The religious material that this movie has in it, I had to research, and is actually really interesting, but I had no idea that any of this was related to the movie. And if I'm being honest, the only reason that I knew this cult was Hindi was because I was watching with subtitles on, and almost every time someone in this movie spoke a language that wasn't English, the subtitle said, "speaking in Hindi." Anyways, away from that, other than the bridge scene that's in the climax, the rest of the action is just decent to me. There's nothing really memorable, and the movie overall just isn't that exciting. I caught myself having to snap out of a trance and look back at the movie, which I don't think that's a good thing. And it's not because it's bad. It's because it was just so confusing to me that it was just easier to accidentally doze off and think about something else rather than pay attention. I actually like Short Round as a character. I feel like a lot of people hate on him for some reason, but I think he's a pretty fun character, and he never failed to make me smile or laugh no matter how ridiculous some of the stuff that he said was. Now, I have a question for Kate Capshaw, which she's the actress who played Willie. Are your vocal cords okay? The amount of screaming that Willie does in this movie was enough for me to be on the same page as Indy and Short Round, and that's oh my. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm asking if she's okay because there's a lot of screaming, and I can't even imagine how many times they would have to retake some of these scenes, so I hope you're well. There's a scene that you most definitely know about if you've seen this movie that I'm about to talk about, and it goes way over the top for way too long. It's about the sexual tension that's between Willie and Indy. They have a should we sleep together, should we not? And I mean, wow. Like, talk about making your audience uncomfortable. I could not wait for this to be over. And when I thought that it ended, it didn't. So after Indy leaves Willie's bedroom, both of them on their own are like fantasizing over the other. I mean, man, all I can say is I was just so happy when Indy found that secret tunnel right before they stumble upon the ceremony, because that's when the tension ended. It was just strange, to say the least. It's okay for them to have lovey-dovey talk to each other, but why is it so lenient on the physical perspective? And why does it last for so long? Just, ugh. I'm sorry, it's just this really weirded me out. It got me to the point where I just wanted to like cover my eyes and have someone tell me when the scene was over, and I was watching the movie by myself. This whole movie was just kind of a write-off to me, and I'm not trying to tell you that it's a bad movie and that you shouldn't like it. I mean, heck, if it's your favorite Indiana Jones movie, power to you. I totally respect you for that, and I can see why it's considered a good movie. And that may confuse you, just considering that I've only talked about negatives in my mind, but that's just because it doesn't fit the bill for me, simply put. Between a setup that's basically, what a coincidence, we need someone to do this for us, and you want something back, so let's exchange, a motive for the antagonist that's just really poorly communicated, considering that the real life source material is really interesting, whatever fight scenes and sexual tension that's enough for me to want to close my eyes and mute the TV, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom just isn't for me. You won't be seeing me and Indy on an adventure in India, but maybe you'll find me in Cairo or Italy. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade if you didn't pick up on the reference. Thanks for watching.